Alright guys, welcome back to the Pocket Mads channel. It's Matty here, and today I'm going to be highlighting a deck that I would really recommend as one of the strongest new decks in all of Pokemon Pocket. Everyday Wonders is out now, and the metagame is changing around a lot. This mini set is full of incredible cards. I think a lot of people are going to be looking towards things like Milotic EX, which is absolutely incredible, and all of the Sleep Scam stuff. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Mega Diancie, and while those two Pokemon are extraordinarily strong, I don't think deck lists are fully optimized yet, and I think that right now, more than any, is a really great time to capitalize on the early metagame changes and things like Oricorio in certain control-type decks. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This is going to be Mega Sableye. This is Turbo Oricorio Poison Mega Sableye. This is a deck that I actually think is extraordinarily good. I almost made a video about Dark Greninja with Sableye because I also think that has a ton of potential. But this is the video that we're going to be highlighting today. DARKRAI EX, 1 Mega Sableye. Mega Sableye is an incredible new card, and we're pairing it with 1 Oricorio just for Oricorio shenanigans if we are able to use it well, and then double Pichu because honestly, I think one of the biggest advantages of Sableye is that not only is it a basic Pokemon, it's a Mega Pokemon, and it has a colorless energy and its attack cost, which are absolutely incredible things. It's not something that we've really ever seen before. You can Turbo Sableye, which I do think is massively underrated. So things like Nihilego also have a colorless energy and their attack cost, and so do Darkrai. So Pichu or Oricorio comboing with these Dark-type Pokemon makes a ton of sense. The thing is, with Poison Barb, Nihilego, and Mega Sableye, if your opponent attacks you, not only is Sableye just dealing 80 damage, which is quite, decent, but also they're going to be taking upwards of 60 damage if they attack into Mega Sableye, plus the Darkrai ping damage. It's absolutely incredible. And then to keep all of our Pokemon alive, we are playing Lucky Ice Pop and 1 PCL because the sustain factor is going to be somewhat important here, and then 1 starting plane. So you give virtually all of our Pokemon literally 20 extra HP, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Double Research, double Pokeball, and a Copycat. This is the deck list. We are playing double X Speed in here, just for consistency reasons. However, maybe you could cut the X Speed. The Small Balloon new tool card would be really nice, but we want to play Poison Barbs with the Nihilego. So that's the concept of the deck. We are an Oricorio deck that can deal with Oricorio decks very, very well, but we're also a very, very punishing control type deck with Mega Sableye. I really like this. In early tournaments, this deck is performing well. In fact, Sableye in the 70-player tournament today was in fact the most popular Pokemon, which is kind of crazy. But I actually do think that Sableye has a ton of potential. I think a lot of people thought, and let's hop into some gameplay. I think a lot of people thought that Sableye maybe would just be an Absol replacement, which it is for sure in certain decks, but I think it's better, and I think it can be played in more ways, which I think the flexibility is really nice for Sableye. So again, we're playing Pichu. We can Turbo into Sableye and attack on turn 2, and then from there, we can kind of put a lot of pressure on our opponent. Being Dark is also going to be somewhat nice, I would say, right now, considering that there's going to be a lot of Psychic Pokemon. Seeing play Gardevoir is definitely going to be pretty popular, and things like, Sleep Scam, right, with Igglybuff and whatnot, certainly going to be taking a lot of damage from Poison Barb, Nihilego, so I feel pretty strongly that we have a lot of potential here, and it looks like we are playing Mega Diancie, which is going to be more of a scary deck, quite frankly, and the reason I say that, of course, is because Mega Diancie is going to be able to KO not only Mega Sableye, but any Mega Pokemon, but we do have Oricorio in our deck list, which we definitely can use, and we also have Nihilego, which we could possibly use to force our opponent, into, I guess their Mega first, right? So let's X-Speed immediately here from our Nihilego and go directly into Pichu. This should be pretty nice, just as a lead-off. I'm not going to commit energies yet. We have PCL and Lucky Ice Pop in hand. PCL, you kind of have to run it in your decks right now, unfortunately. We're not playing Cyrus in the deck. You probably do want to play a Cyrus as well. That's just something to consider. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm going to hold off on playing starting planes for now. I'm just going to attach to Nihilego. We have no other Pokemon in our hand, so we're just going to go ahead and crackly toss and set up this Nihilego and hopefully put some pressure on our opponent. Sabrina would be pretty nice as well. I think in this deck list, there's some case to be made about Sabrina for sure. Maybe we cut something in the deck for Cyrus. We are playing double Lucky Ice Pops, right? But quite frankly, our opponent is going second, leading Carbink, and he does get double Ralts Diancie, right? So this is going to be somewhat scary, I would say. There's not a lot we can really do here, is the downside. 170 HP is going to be a little bit scary to deal with, especially because this Carbink is probably just going to start ramping out of control. But unless he gets a Gardevoir next turn, we are going to get a free turn where he can't actually utilize Mega Diancie, right? So no other Pokemon. Okay, our hand is quite poor, in fact. Now, Nihilego does 30, and it does Poison, so we can't play Starting Planes yet, which is unfortunate. I'm actually going to Poison Barb Nihilego here, And no other Pokemon to attach to. Again, very unfortunate start for us here. No Pokeballs, no Copycat or anything, no other Pokemon. So let's go ahead, put some pressure here. We're going to get rid of this Carbink. That leaves him with 2 energies on board. Unless he has Gardevoir, he's not really going to be able to attack next turn, which should be pretty good. So yeah, let's just New Wave. We'll KO the Carbink here with the poison. It'll tick for 20. Maybe he has Rare Candy Gardevoir. He did go second in lead Carbink, which is definitely really strong for him. That being said, if we can find one of our Pokemon and our opponent doesn't find their Pokemon, we should be in a decent position. So let's see what he goes into. He's probably going to go into the Ralts. No, he goes into Diancie. Okay. So he's going to just allow us, I think, here to get some damage off. This is an interesting decision by him. Again, we don't have Cyrus, so it's somewhat of a safe decision, I would say, on his part. 2 energies on board here. It might be a little while before. Is he just going to retreat? He is, right? He's just going to pivot back into Meloetta. Okay, that's fine. We do actually, do we KO with weakness? We do, right? So that's somewhat relevant. He commits the energy to Meloetta in a really interesting decision, I would say. We do actually draw into Oricorio, which is going to be extremely useful, but we hit for weakness on this thing and he gets KO'd. So I don't know why he went into Meloetta. It is Dark Weak. We're going to hold off on playing Starting Plane so we can take the KO here. There's a case to be made to just go into Pichu and then set up the Oricorio, but we'll do that later. We have some time here. So this is going to deal 50 with weakness and then 20 with poison. So this Meloetta gets KO'd. I don't know why he brought it up. Maybe he wasn't aware of the Dark weakness. Yet again, I do think Dark is very well positioned in this new season because there's a lot of Gardevoir stuff seeing play. And you're weak to grass, right? Most of our Pokemon are weak to grass and fighting. But that's, I would say, less of a big deal currently. So now he's forced to get into Mega Diancie. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty decent. Yeah, he's just going to concede. I don't know if he had anything for Oricorio anyway. A lot of decks, you're going to notice a lot of decks are just not playing tech cards for Oricorio, right? It's one of the things that is always common at the beginning of seasons. People are playing new cards, they're playing new decks, they're testing out core strategies. They're not really, attacking for Oricorio. So I wouldn't be surprised if Oricorio wins a ton of tournaments early on. And in general, I just think Mega Sableye is extremely strong. I really do. We weren't really able to even utilize it that game. But yeah, I mean, theoretically, if you can Pichu into Sableye, get Poison Barb, Nihilegos down, maybe you get the Darkrai down as well later on. Like, you deal an absurd amount of damage. If your opponent is attacking into you, they're going to be harshly punished, like extraordinarily punished. And it's a very interesting proposition. We're going first again here. We do lead an interesting set of Pokemon, I would say, but we have X Speed in our hand, so it doesn't really matter what we lead with. Although I don't really want to get sleep scammed, so I guess we're just gonna lead Nihilego. And we're going first, so we'll just pass. We do have Copycat in hand. Going first is pretty nice. Let's see if he has a bunch of basic Pokemon. I'm curious to see. We can X Speed and then just Copycat and hope that we draw into like a Pichu or something. Yeah, he's just gonna lead off with the one Zora, so that's good for us. Okay. So 4 cards in hand. What do we top deck? It's a Darkrai. Okay, so we have some choices here. Definitely Sableye going down. I don't know if we really need the second Nihilego, if I'm being honest. So I'm actually going to bench the Darkrai. And we're just going to try to go Darkrai, Sableye, Nihilego, and then maybe a Pichu if we can draw into it. So I'm going to play the XP this turn. We'll Copycat, and then hopefully get a Pichu. We do have 2 Pichu in our deck. We don't leave any bench space for Oricorio here, but I have the Darkrai and the Sableye, so we're just going to go that route. Lucky Ice Pop, Research, Poison Barb, and Oricorio. Okay. That's a bit unfortunate, for sure. Trying to think what the best case scenario here would be, in fact. It could be to just bench Oricorio and go into it. I mean, we'd never really be able to use it, but that's not a big deal, really, is it? Interesting. Is that he can't attack next turn. He's probably just going to Ascension, so I'll just leave my hand as it is, I suppose. And I don't really think it's worth retreating into anything in particular here. We do have another X Speed, so I mean, we could get the free retreat into Oricorio this turn, but then we would have to be waiting, right? So, I mean, that could be pretty funny. We'll just pass. It's fine. We'll just pass. I was really hoping to draw into the Pichu there. It was somewhat likely, to be honest. We just whiffed Pokeballs and whatnot, so still have double Pichu, double Pokeball in our deck. We've seen all of our other basic Pokemon. But no, unfortunately, no Pichu here on the turn 1. But double XP, double Pichu should be very consistent in terms of, being a really fast-paced deck. So let's see what our opponent does. He gets Absol out, but we actually really like Absol in this matchup. We're not even playing Cyrus, so it doesn't really matter. We probably should be playing Cyrus, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so Zoroark comes out here. He's not going to be able to attack this turn, but it is what it is. And there's the X Speed. Okay, so now I think it's probably... This is where it gets interesting. I think we just stall. I'm not gonna lie. I think we genuinely just stall. So I'm just gonna X speed. I'm just gonna bench the Oricorio with no Pichu on board, and I'm just gonna go ahead and retreat into it so that we can buy ourselves some time, and then we can just start setting stuff up. You know. Again, he hasn't presented anything on his board to deal with Oricorio, so we're gonna be a-okay just letting this happen. I'm just gonna attach one to Oricorio preemptively this turn, and I guess we'll just throw a Poison Barb on it as well, because why not? But we got to be a little bit careful here, right? We can slow the game down with Oricorio. It would have been really nice to get the Pichu. It would have been absolutely incredible to get Pichu here. He actually just has Sabrina in his hand, which I love. That's super funny. I'm just going to let him take Nihilego then. He ended up just having Sabrina. We love that. He can just KO Nihilego. I don't care. It doesn't matter to us. It does not matter to us. Should have Poison Barbed. Oh, he doesn't even KO. He can't deal any damage, which is really funny. Okay, so anyway, there's the Pichu. I almost just want to let this go down, but I know I shouldn't, so I'm not going to, I guess. Let's just commit here to the Darkrai and just start setting this up. We're down double X speeds. Maybe it was a case to be said there to just attach. So what does he need to KO? He needs one more. We could use healing here to stop the KO on the following turn. That actually would be probably more ideal. Or we could just Poison Barb. Let's do this. This is going to be pretty funny. Let's Poison Barb and just heal up. And just try to stop him from being able to KO us next turn. And take even more chip damage. 60, so what we want to do here is... I guess we'll play PCL now. We'll just waste the PCL. It's fine. It's no big deal. So now he needs 2 basics to KO us because we're at 70 instead of 60. And we do have... This is funny. This is pretty funny. Okay, Bombardier comes down. That's fine. So that's something that he can use, I guess, into Oricorio. But he's going to take a lot of chip damage. I mean, does he have... I don't know if he has anything in his deck, really, for Oricorio. So he does get the full bench, though. So shout out to him. The healing was all for naught, unfortunately. But it's whatever. It doesn't matter. Now he's poisoned. So he's going to want to pivot. For sure. He's going to want to pivot. Now, the question here becomes... what should we do? He's taken some decent damage here. We could just sacrifice the Pichu and let him take 2 prizes. I don't even hate that plan. So honestly, I'm gonna bench the Pichu. I'm going to attach Darkrai this turn. And then I'm just gonna sack the Pichu. Nothing on his board is hitting for a ton of damage, right? So I'm just gonna let him take this Pichu. And then now we get the lightning energy onto Oricorio. And then we can just go into Oricorio and probably just sort of win this game. I don't really know what he does from here. If he KOs the Pichu, he's going to want to retreat. So he might retreat into Absol to do this, to get the KO. But then what, right? PCL is... okay. All right, there comes his PCL. So his poison's gone. So good for him. And he's got Lucky Ice Pop. Okay. That's fine. We're going to keep this one last Lucky Ice Pop in our hand. He flips heads. So... an incredible amount of skill from our opponent here. We both have 5 cards in deck. We still have Starting Plains, which might be a good card to play for us at some point. I don't know if he plays a Stadium. I imagine he would. He's going to set up the Bombardier. It's his only card here to deal with Oricorio. In fact, he goes into Bombardier, which is an incredibly interesting play. I wonder if he has another Pokemon to deal with Oricorio. I'm genuinely curious. He's already played Sabrina, so I don't really know what his plan is. I'm not going to lie. We want Nihilego. We want our second Nihilego, and that's our final board state. There it is. It's our budget gold Nihilego. So Oricorio literally just KOs with weakness here. And again, I don't really know where he goes from here, if I'm being honest. And this is the thing, right? You play Turbo Sableye, which is going to win you some games anyway, but then you just have the Oricorio stuff. And as you're going to see early this season, if you're really just trying to win games and tournaments and whatnot, I mean, Oricorio is going to be really strong. So maybe he has a second Bombardier or something here. I mean, the Zoroark EXs aren't going to do anything to us. Oh, he's got Roaring Moon. That's actually terrifying. And he's going to force us to swap in, which is really, really funny. And I love that. I guess we have to go into Sableye here because Darkrai doesn't have enough HP, which is fine. And he's going to start setting this up, which will, unfortunately... oh, and he's got the Field Blower. Okay, so he's got, like, everything, which is crazy. So starting planes will get Oricorio out of range. This only does 90 and puts us at 80, but Lucky Ice Pop brings us back up to 100, which is a-okay. We do not, unfortunately, draw into starting planes yet. It's one of our last 3 cards of our deck. We do have a research left. Can we get this back? We do. I'm going to keep stacking this up. He's 2 more turns from being able to utilize the Field Blower was clutch, I'm not going to lie. And here comes the Lucky Ice Pop scam, which is why we play it. Yeah. Okay. It's good healing on the Ice Pop. Fortunately, we're down X speed, so we're going to attach and just retreat. Go into Oricorio and start chipping here. Hopefully, we can draw into something next turn, meaning starting planes. That way, we could leave Oricorio in for another turn. But we're going to assume that he has Cyrus as well, right? We have to assume that he has Cyrus, which is a little scary. So what this means effectively is that if we can get starting planes, we'll live a hit from Roaring Moon, right? Which is really, really nice. So then we can commit energies to the Sableye and then set up for a 100 damage attack to 1-hit KO the Roaring Moon and then end the board state with just Oricorio being an auto-win scenario, I think. Unless he has somehow another Pokemon. Okay, his Lucky Ice Pop's finally gone, which is fine. He's going to just set this up. I don't want to be forced to retreat here, but I will if I have to. Wow. Okay. That's really unfortunate for us. So, okay. I think we lose, actually, because the last 2 cards of our deck are Starting Planes and Professor's Research. I genuinely think we lose because of this. Because we know he's got Cyrus, and we have no way to deal with that. So, unfortunately for us, I think we're cooked. I think we are actually cooked. That's so unfortunate. Literally 2 cards in our deck. If we drew starting planes, we would have just won the game because we could have just stayed in, attacked, and then next turn KO'd with Sableye. But whatever. Okay. All right. I don't know if this is winnable anymore, unfortunately for us. But it is what it is. I guess we can hope he doesn't have Cyrus, but we know he plays Cyrus. There's no way he doesn't. Let's retreat. Get rid of the dark. We'll just go into Darkrai, I guess, because it's got the energies. And unfortunately, he's just going to attack us and then Cyrus us, and there's literally nothing we can do about it, which is sad, because we're down all our healing. Okay, comes Lucky Ice Pop. Let's see if he gets more out of this. The Ice Pops actually ended up being really important for him as well, because we would have just been able to KO. But nothing we could do. He's just going to Brutal Bash. And he's got Cyrus in his hand, so the game's over, unfortunately for us. Just nothing we could do. There was nothing we could have done. It's quite sad, I would say. Yeah. Let's see here. And he's out of range of Oricorio. So we got absolutely destroyed by Lucky Ice Pops, but we lost because we didn't have starting planes that turn. And being forced into Darkrai, because we know he has Cyrus, was a really loser. This Zoroark took so much damage. That's incredible. How much did he heal in total on the Zoroark? But yeah, that's tough. If we had starting planes just anywhere other than the last card of our deck, then we would have been able to just tank the hit from the Roaring Moon and then win the game that way. But as we know, doesn't always work out. Hey, sometimes you get unlucky, for sure. The Roaring Moon ended up being pretty clutch for him, I'm not going to lie. So one Sabrina and 1 Roaring Moon. The Field Blower was also clutch. You got a bunch of heads on the Lucky Ice Pop. To be fair, we're also playing Ice Pop, so we can't really complain about that. But that's the thing. We're only playing 1 Oricorio, right? So it would have been a much easier win condition to just maybe rely on double Oricorios there. But, how are the last 2 cards of our deck going to be Professor's Research and Starting Planes? That's rather unfortunate, I would say. And if he honestly, if he just didn't get the early Ice Pop flips, he would have KO'd Zoroark and then just had the potential to win that game anyway. So it is what it is. We also whiffed Pichu early on. That was an extremely unlucky game for us there. We're going to leave it in. We're going to leave out in the gameplay. We always leave in the losses, of course, because not every game goes your way, regardless of what deck you're playing and what deck your opponent's playing. Sometimes it doesn't work out for you. All right. We're going second, leading Nihilego. Looks like we're playing against Sleep Scam, which is hilarious. So we're about to get slapped immediately. We don't have any like real direct counter for sleep, which is tough. But we do have Poison Barb and Nihilego, so we might be able to hold off for a little bit here. We're going to have to wait and see. Really what we want to do is break out of sleep on this turn so we can just retreat. That would be like very ideal, if possible. So we'll see. Okay, so it is Milotic. He's going to Giant Cape the Feebas. Sure. Any Darkrai's? Second Igglybuff. All right. That's fine. That is A-okay. A-okay to me. We flip heads, which is good. So let's see what we can draw into here. Okay, the Pichu's really nice. This is really nice. Okay. This should work out. Into the Sableye. That's perfect. Very, very perfect. So we're going to go like this. We're going to go like this. I'm going to X-Speed out of Nihilego. We're going to go into Pichu, Poison Barb the Pichu, set up the Sableye, and then research here. And hopefully we can find Darkrai or potentially find... I'm actually just going to attach to Sableye here. Because we want PCL. We're definitely going to want a PCL. We're also probably going to want Darkrai or a second Nihilego to put some extra pressure on. But Sableye should be able to really pull this out quite well. Second Nihilego's nice. Is this going to be Darkrai? Could be Oricorio. Oricorio is also going to be a good pull here if we can get it. Okay, we have Nihilego and Darkrai, which is kind of a big deal. That being said, I think it probably might be better to just attach... Actually, no, it's probably just better to play the Darkrai here. Because Sableye is going to already be set up, right? So we're just gonna put the Darkrai down. Doesn't give us Oricorio, but we could always just bench it later. Once the Pichu goes down, of course, we don't have Oricorio set up, but we're going to use Pichu to set up the Sableye. And if he hits into us, then he gets KO'd, and then we just KO whatever on the following turn with Sableye. And then if he comes in with Milotic, we're going to set up the KO regardless. My phone is ringing. I am not going to answer that. All right, Milotic comes down. So we get to the turn 2 Milotic. We see the Igglybuffs on the screen here. If he doesn't have Darkrai, Igglybuff's not even going to KO Pichu, which is really funny. So we can actually just force him to hit us this way. He can't attack with Milotic this turn because he didn't get Wallace down. Yeah, and he's not going to attack us, which is hilarious, right? And this is fine because we're just going to Darkrai. We're just going to Darkrai. And we're going to pass. Actually, we can just Crackly Toss yet again here. And just immediately, I guess, set up on our Darkrai. You know? If he does put a Darkrai down, that's tough because then Pichu goes down, but I'm really not too super concerned about that in general. Maybe it would have been better, actually, to get the energy onto Nihilego here. Okay, second Feebas. What's scary, though, for us is that we don't have Cyrus in our deck, right? Which we really should be playing Cyrus because we're just losing games without it. So I would recommend you cut something in this deck for Cyrus, honestly. Okay, so he's actually just going to hit us, which is pretty wild, but we have PCL in hand, which is really, really nice for us. So watch this. He's going to get poisoned, and this is what's crazy. He's going to get poisoned. He's going to take a lot of damage here. He's going to take 20. We are just going to go into Sableye here. It should be pretty safe to do so. Again, having Cyrus in our deck would be phenomenal, but we don't, unfortunately. And then we have Research, so we're just going to play that. And then what's really funny is we can bench the second Nihilego. Double Lucky Ice Pop and PCL in hand is kind of a toxic scenario. But look at this damage, right? So he's taking 30 from the double Nihilegos. He's going to take 20 from the Darkrai. So this is where the damage starts to add up, right? So he's already taken 40. He's going to take 30 more at the end of the turn, and Sableye is going to be hitting him for 80. Right? And that's the power of the Sableye, Darkrai, Nihilego stuff, is that we've just completely ate through this 160 HP Milotic with only one attack. So the X speed comes out. Is he going to try to go into Milotic, a second Milotic? He plays double X speed. So shout out to him. It would have been really good for us to have another Poison Bar, but we don't. He does have the second Milotic. He's not going to be able to attack with it in this turn unless he has Elemental Switch. Maybe he does, though. He has to retreat. And he retreats into Igglybuff. He's going to try to sleep scam us, which is a totally fine play from him. But again, if he goes into this Milotic, he's just going to get KO'd by Sableye. And now because I've attacked, if he attacks me, he takes 40 damage. It doesn't even matter which Pokemon he uses because the effect of Sableye's Cursed Jewel attack works onto Sableye. Watch this. Igglybuff will take 40 here. Absolutely broken. This is great. This is really, really good, guys. I want to really illustrate how strong this is. I think Davu, my opponent here, forgot exactly what was just about to happen here. We have PCL in hand to deal with this. We flip heads anyway, so it's all good. We're going to keep that PCL in our pocket. Absolutely absurd. Can we draw Poison Barb? No, but we can draw Starting Plains, but we're going to attach to Darkrai before we play Starting Plains. Cooking. Absolutely cooking our opponents here. What a deck. What is this deck? This is, I think Sableye is very underrated. People were saying Absol's better than Sableye, and I really just don't see it. I'm not going to lie. He's forced to go into the higher HP Milotic, but unfortunately, again, if he attacks us, he's cooked. I'm just going to play the Ice Pop here, because why not? Although we don't have Poison Barb, which stinks, but it doesn't matter anyway. We have PCL in hand, and we get the Lucky Ice Pop back. We'll play the Starting Plains here. 5 cards in deck. We do have Copycat. We have Poison Barb. We have Oricorio as well, which is pretty funny. So we're going to just hit for 80. This is going to bring him to 60. Okay. This brings him to 60, but if he hits us, he takes 40. Darkrai ping, yada yada. That's 140. And game's over. So even without Poison Barb, we have enough damage pressure here to actually just KO the Milotic. He does get the Darkrai down. It doesn't matter. We have 190 HP. And he concedes. The game's over. Okay. All right. Absolutely cooking. You know, that's also, you got to understand, like, you know, Sleep Scam can be tough with Oricorio, but again, the Poison Barb, you know, Lucky Ice Pop, Pokemon Center Lady, Nihilego stuff, like, really is quite good into Igglybuff specifically. Now, he didn't get super lucky with his draws. He didn't get Darkrai early there, but I feel pretty strongly that this deck is well positioned into Sleep Scam. Either way, we'll play one more game and we'll wrap it up. I think that game perfectly kind of illustrated the strength of this deck and what exactly, you know, we can be doing here with Poison Barb, Sableye. The damage adds up like absolutely, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it's 80 on the attack, 20 ping from Darkrai, 30 damage with Nihilego. It's a lot. I mean, it's an extraordinarily like large amount of damage. We're playing another Lightning deck here, and our hand is not ideal, but it's not terrible either, in fact, because we are playing double X speed. Double Pokeball, we could get the Pichu. He's playing Stoutland? Is that what we're seeing here? Playing the Stoutland? Oh no, it's Puppy Pile. I forgot Lillipup was also Puppy Pile. That's kind of crazy. Okay, so let's Poison Barb. Let's just play all our cards. Get a 4-card Copycat, hopefully, here. I wouldn't mind a second Nihilego. Pichu's good. I am going to bench it just preemptively here, probably, because I want a Copycat and hopefully draw into X speed. Darkrai, I'm going to bench this as well. We're going to bench all of this. Just going to bench it all. I probably did need to put the Poison Barb onto this Nihilego. I probably could have held it, but it's fine. We'll put this Poison Barb in this Pichu because I probably will be swapping into it. And now we just Copycat, and what we excuse me, what we really want here is an X speed. Double Research, Lucky Ice Pop, and Sableye. All right, I mean, okay. That's fine. We'll just pass. It's whatever. He can't even attack me this turn anyway. So it's really no big deal. You can put some really nice pivot pressure on, right? By just going into Pichu with a Poison Barb. Because the poison stays. It's better than Rocky Helmet in that sense. And that's why Nihilego is actually a good card, because Poison Barb, the poison just stays unless they get rid of it. He's actually playing Pichu himself. And he gets Small Balloon. So he's going to just go into his own Pichu. I like this play from him. A lot of respect here. We got to be careful because the Puppy Pile stuff is going to deal a lot of damage. In fact, we could easily lose here, just considering the damage thresholds and the fact that we do need to take 3 KOs, and our deck isn't really primed and ready to take 3 KOs like that. The X speed comes down is really nice, so we're just going to do that. Well, X speed, I'm just going to immediately go into Pichu here because we can't take any KO pressure anyway. So we're going to go into Pichu. I'll attach to Darkrai. We'll put some pressure on. We definitely want Cyrus in this deck. Why are we not playing Cyrus? I think I just forgot to put a Cyrus in here, if I'm being entirely honest with you. Okay. Another Pichu and another X speed. Not extremely useful cards, coincidentally. I might want to put this Lightning Energy onto Nihilego. It's fine. We'll just put it on a Sableye for now. It probably would have been better to put it onto Nihilego because we could have just gone into it and then used Nihilego to take a KO here. Because he's going to go into a puppy and just sort of start attacking, right? Generator comes down. He's playing a lightning version. He's playing a lightning generator Puppy Pile Pichu version, which I think is fine. I personally thought the fire version might be better with Magby because then you could flame patch, but he's playing E-Cord. Okay, so that's very respectable. I like this lineup here. And he's just going to Crackly Toss. So he's going to let us take the Pichu, which is an interesting proposition for us. What is this hand we're drawing into here? We can just KO, though. So I don't know. Oricorio's not going to help us. PCL's fine. I'm just going to attach to Darkrai here. And then I'm just going to let him attack Pichu. Because if he goes into anything other than Growlithe, we're going to be able to probably just KO him, right? As long as he can't one-hit KO Sableye, we're actually going to be in a really good spot. So let's Crackly Toss here. I guess this time we'll just put it onto Nihilego. 2 cards in deck, so it's very likely we actually do draw Nihilego. We have Copycat and Nihilego in our deck. Oh no, we already played Copycat. Wow, we only have 2 cards in our deck? That's crazy. We might be able to just like heal extend outside of a 2 KO range as well if we can maybe draw starting planes. So he's at 120, which is pretty scary actually. But we can KO with Nihilego, and then we just go into Sableye, and I just don't know how we ever lose this game. That's my honest opinion. I don't think it's I don't see how we lose. I really don't. But maybe we can still. We'll maybe find a way to lose. I guess we probably shouldn't bench anything though. The last card in our deck is Nihilego, which is quite frankly very annoying. We KO anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I think we have this sort of just locked in, but I guess we'll just play some of these cards in case he copycats us or something. We're not going to need Are we going to need Nihilego? No. I mean, no, we don't, because Darkrai will just KO regardless. So I'll just bench this. We can't play any of the other cards in our hand, unfortunately. I'm not going to play starting planes either, so we'll just KO here with Nihilego. This brings him down to 100 unless he top decks another Puppy Pile Pokemon. But it doesn't matter, because unless he's got like Sabrina and 180 damage, he can't win the game, right? So Nihilego is a very effective attacker. It's really nice that it has a colorless energy. Every single Pokemon in our deck has one colorless, which is a really, really big deal, and that's why I think Pichu's just such a useful card. Really allows you to set up all your entire board state. Here comes Puppy Loving Girl. So he is going to extend pretty hard here, but he only has 1 point. And like I said, you know, unless he also has maybe he has Repel. Is he playing Repel? Do you guys remember Repel? No one plays Repel anymore. Shout out to Puppy Pile, though. It's a very dangerous attack. What is this doing? 140? 160? 160 is a lot of damage. Shout out to Puppy Pile. Very respectable. Very respectable damage, but unfortunately, you know, it's not enough. I have an ESPN notification. Nothing important. Okay. I'm expecting Jaylen Brown to get traded at any point in time here. He's going to concede. I was just going to bench Nihilego and then attach Darkrai and let him go down to poison. But anyway, listen, guys. I know this is not the deck that a lot of people expected me to highlight. People are going to comment down below. They're going to be like, listen, I think Sleep Scam Milotic is stronger. I think, you know, Diance's stronger. There's a lot of really strong cards in the metagame. But again, you need to understand that Oricorio's value in the early season is extremely strong, okay? And what I do on this channel is give you my opinions as to what I think is best in the moment. Okay, listen, in the second week into the third week, you know, maybe Mega Gardevoir Diancie is really good. Maybe Milotic and something else is really good. But I'll share my opinions about all of the new decks in tomorrow's video. So you're definitely going to want to tune in. Tomorrow's going to be where I highlight basically all of the best new decks, and I talk about them in more depth. There is the Jay Dankus tournament tonight if you wanted to play in it, but also the PMPT Holiday Special $200 cash prize pool is this Sunday. It's a special single-day PMPT event, so you're going to want to tune into that. Link to register down in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Again, I really, really do recommend this deck list. I genuinely think Mega Sableye is way better than people give it credit for. You know, starting planes, 190 HP, you're pretty safe from getting KO'd. You can put a ton of pressure on with even just Poison Barb, Nihilego, or Oricorio to slow games down. It's extremely good. It's good into Sleep Scam. It's going to be good into anything that's weak to Dark, and also, I just really think Sableye is massively underrated right now, and it pairs really well with Oricorio. And I think that's a very, very big deal. I think Dark Greninja with Sableye also has a ton of potential. That's a deck I could see do very, very well here. I've seen some people playing Sableye with Dusk Noir, which to me is a really, really funny strategy. However, you will just lose to whatever can one-hit KO you, so I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think Oricorio helps solve that issue, right? you're going to go down to Mega Sableye, or sorry, you're going to go down to Mega Lucario, you're going to go down to Mega Diancie. That's why you have to play Oricorio in this deck list. We're not playing Cyrus. I would slot in maybe a Cyrus somewhere. You know, maybe you could cut the Lucky Ice Pops. Maybe they're not that important, right? So maybe you cut Lucky Ice Pops for Cyrus. Maybe you play second Oricorio if you wanted to lean more into it. But again, a really, really strong deck, guys. I would heavily recommend it. Mega Sableye, massively slept on. Dark type is still incredible. You could probably just play Mega Sableye with Hydreigon as well, and it'd probably be super strong. But anyway, that's it, guys. That's the video. Peace out. Have a good one. We'll see you guys later. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video and the next day. But yeah,